Hi, everybody. We're back. We're doing number 52. We just finished 51. Welcome. There you now. Search for Truth.
Search for Truth.
So you mentioned your cousin came to stay with you a bit. You know?
Yeah.
So what was that like? Was that
That was good. It was good.
How long was he here for?
He spent the night.
Yeah.
Because he went up to LA to see his daughter and grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
And then he stopped by and we had a chance to talk. And
good to see him.
Oh yeah. Because I don't see that many people from San Diego. Elijah. Everybody's doing their thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, he's been in your life a long time. I know we talk about him all the time.
I remember when I was in the Marine Corps. I first saw him when he was about 2 years old.
Okay. How old is he?
He's 62. Yeah.
And he lives out in San Diego still?
Yeah.
And was it your other cousin that used to come by and have the coffee, bring a coffee by? And
my nephew.
Nephew, that's right, nephew.
Yeah, he's taking care of his mom and dad.
Yeah. He doesn't come by like he did.
Yeah, he came by last week, and then my other nephew came through last week. It was last week. Yeah. He came through. He coaches over at Brea.
Football,
basketball.
Oh, basketball.
Oh yeah. He wants to go back to school. And
he played at Illinois, right?
No. Stevens played at Illinois. The other one, Eric. He went to the Air Force and got out and came back. But he's coaching basketball at Brea. Mm-hmm. You remember when Brea used to be, the girls team used to be the shits. Everything goes in cycles.
Demographics changes or what?
Well, what happens is that other teams get better. Mm-hmm. See, sometimes you get, it's like when modern day is taking over the top run in football. Remember when modern day was the basketball thing? Well, it kids stopped.
Football was always solid, though.
Football was always solid.
It wasn't the premier like it is now.
No, not. No, they're tough. They got everybody. They got they got all the guys.
All the guys. So I remember you talked several times about Van Horbeck in Anaheim. Back in the day, that was perennial power. What happened to that? What happens to an Anaheim high school?
Demographics.
Yeah.
It went from all white to now it's all Hispanic. Mm-hmm. And I think in today's football, commitment. You can only play one sport. That's football, and football's all year round. Yeah, and you got the environment now that those kids can't spend all that kind of time.
Is there any program or any kids that could play more than one sport?
If you're down Margarita or somewhere, maybe. Those kind of places.
I remember when Brad was, I don't think he was even in high school, but there was a kid. There were two brothers, Ryder brothers. The older one played football, but the younger one played football, basketball, and threw the discus.
Okay.
And that was unbelievable. He was one of the last guys that could do it, and he played. He was in a
down to me.
No, this was Murrieta Valley High School.
Well, see, in that environment,
but that doesn't happen now. That was an anomaly.
That was before, because I remember when I was at coaching at El Medina, it was our quarterback played baseball. And there was a big issue, because he played. And that's the last time.
But what year was that?
Shit, man, I left there in 97. Yeah, that's the last time I coached.
So that was happening, but that was rare then. Now, it's probably unheard of now. I don't think.
No, it's unless you're not in California. It depends on other places.
Yeah. Southern California, I would even have to say.
No,
right?
not yet. Northern California, you probably can get away with.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because Northern California, it was really funny. Like I was talking to my brother-in-law. He went to Valley, and he went up to Cal, and then he coached at O'Dowd football. And like I told him, in Northern California, the emphasis is on baseball.
Really?
I grew up playing baseball.
You're talking about the Bay Area and everything.
Yeah.
That's still the case?
Yeah. Football. I played football, basketball, and baseball in high school. Okay, but football, baseball was my game. That's where I was. I sat on the bench in basketball because I was. If I'd have played in another high school basketball, I'd been okay.
Yeah.
But these guys,
But you were on the team, though.
Yeah, I was on the team. Yeah, we went to the TLC 2 years.
Yeah.
We wanted to see the championships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the reason why football, and it probably has something to do with the weather. Football is not the game. Basketball, track, and baseball. Okay. And then you got in the Fresno, in that area, the kids they're tough. Football's tough. Basketball, baseball. You got the concentration of people. But you know, there's another little. It's called mid. It's right off of Midville, right in that little cusp of narco, corona.
Oh, yeah.
Is it? Little community. One or two girls come from there for softball. I said, "Damn, where are they coming from?" I said, "Yeah."
Yeah, that area is up and coming.
Yeah, it's the.
I'm trying to think of the name.
Where you used to have all the Chino on the backside of
Chino. By Europa.
The Chino Hills. Eastville. That's it. Yes, Eastville.
Yeah, that's up and coming. That's
because they don't have the horses out there, the cows there.
No, the cows, the dairies are all gone.
All gone, man. That was the Pomona. The Pomona Valley. That's what it was. Upland and all the places. Yeah. Ontario. Yeah. Because a lot of when you think about with the housing situation, where are these kids? Where are these parents going to come in? They coming in with these kids. The average house you buy in Orange County now is what?
Mill 5.
Mill 5, yeah.
Yeah, everybody says, you're a millionaire. I'm a millionaire because I got a house that's worth $1 million. So there's a lot of millionaires in Orange County. Now where I'm at, it's still affordable.
Yeah.
They haven't really kept up out there.
Well, because the one thing is it's a commuter environment.
Yeah.
And
there's no industry.
No industry. Everybody's working.
San Diego or Orange County?
Yeah, San Diego, Orange County, Riverside.
Yeah, so there's a lot of commuters.
Yeah.
A lot of commuters. Yeah, I was one, but yeah. So
it's like Garden Grove used to be a bedroom community.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's where we moved to Garden Grove. Yeah. We came from California or Kansas. We moved to Garden Grove, and it was a bedroom city, like you said, all white people. There was one I had one black girl in my high school. And, so there was little or no diversity. It's obviously changed now. But
what do you think is the breakdown now in Orange County? I think Orange County, right up this way, it's about 60% Hispanic, and then you go down South County, it's probably 60% white.
Not even more. I was going to
Yeah,
say
70, yeah. Because he built all the new high schools down here.
Well, economically, I mean, people, black people, brown people, they still haven't been able to climb that economic ladder yet.
Because
not in a whole scale.
Because they're not gonna let them do it. You know, the thing that happened, I think the one of the one and done, the gearing the kids away from gearing them to the sports, but not academics. You know, what did they say? Oh, you don't have to worry about you play basketball. Okay, just go play basketball. Don't even go to class. Okay, I mean, and they suckered a lot of kids that way, one and done.
That's still going on?
They're not taking on one and done because they're immature. You think about you're an 18-year-old, 19-year-old guy, and you're playing with guys that have families. Okay, and you can't throw a temper tantrum. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to produce.
Yeah, the competition is definitely much more intense in that regard. I'm sure, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, you're playing against grown men that have families. They have they out there for real. They're not showboating. Okay.
Yeah.
They're not showboating. They playing the game for real.
Yeah. Because I mean, you're obviously 10 years older than me, and but you had your experiences in Orange County, and your girls, went to Esperanza, and again, the Orange County that I grew up in was much different than the Orange County of today, and so that's what I was asking you about, Van Horbeck and Anaheim High School. I mean, that was a perennial power. My buddy went to Western those 2 years that they won.
Yeah.
He was an offensive lineman at Western with Bobby Acosta, and that group, they had this elite group of players that just kind of came through at the time, because once that group left, Western never
because you know what happened. Then what happened from then on is the culture change.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the Asians, Filipinos. Came in that area.
Yeah. See, I went to Rancho Alamitos, and they were a always competitive, but that's when they were, it was all white guys. But then
they started getting the guys from Long Beach.
Shortly after my seasons, but then there was a little bit of a group of guys that came in, Vic, I can't remember, but yeah, there was a couple of really good players, black players that came in, and Rancho emerged again, but then
they came in from Long Beach.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, and they brought them up, and I think that was brought in by the coach that they hired. He brought that group in, and then they emerged for a number of years, 3, 4, maybe.
Yeah, 5, 6 years.
Yeah, and then they've never been back again. But again, it is the demographics, and
because you like Santa Ana. Santa Ana used to be a power. The Sunset League and
that was like one of the only games in town in that area, right?
Oh, Santa Ana.
More than Valley, right?
Yeah,
Santa Ana was it.
Santa Ana Valley, and then they used to
what's that other school? Saddleback. Saddleback High School.
Saddleback started when I first was about the same time Cypress started. Okay, Saddleback, they split. What they did was they split.
You talking about the college? You talking about the high school?
I'm talking about the college.
Okay, yeah, I was talking about the high school, but
high school.
Saddleback College down in South County.
Yeah. No, Saddleback High School
was in Santa Ana.
Yeah, Santa Ana. And they split. What they did was they split Santa Ana Valley up, send the white boys over there
to Saddleback.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Like I say, the world, that's the thing. you can't really roll it back. You can try, but I don't see you can't go back. You know, it's
you got to go forward.
You gotta go forward. Progress.
They're trying to put the genie back in the bottle.
Put the genie back in the bottle. I like
but it ain't going. It's not going back in there because
it's resisting like hell.
Well, because we are a melting pot country. People come from all over the world to live the kind of
like
life.
I said, the Disneyland thing was a prime example where I sat there and watched, just look out over these crowds of, hundreds of thousands, not thousands of people at that park in that day.
Come from everywhere.
Everywhere. And like I said, you're walking through the streets, of the park, and you're seeing God, look at all these different people. They're just different. There's no it's not a cookie cutter thing.
No, save up their money for the experience.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
The kids don't care who.
No,
they're going to see Minnie and Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
You asked me once about like where I live and the diversity, and it's not going to be like Santa Ana out there, but
no.
But when I stand at the gate watching the kids come out to pick up my grandkids, I'm amazed at the colors that come out. Right now, my friend, my buddy, and his wife, and they moved to Montana. It's all white kids.
Oh yeah.
So that's granted, that's their decision. But what I'm thinking is, they have two boys. One's like in the third grade, one's like in the kindergarten or first grade. They're if they never leave that area, they'll be fine. But they're gonna. If you're only associating with white people, how do you merge into society without some kind of exposure experience? And not notice the differences. My grandkids, I really don't think they know one. They have friends of all different colors and backgrounds. They never give it another thought. I don't think they think about it
because entitlement is what happens. Is because sometimes they are always getting in the front of the line.
Yeah, always.
And then when they leave the house and they go out there on themselves, they got to compete. Yeah, and they're not used to compete.
And the world ain't fair.
That's what they're saying right now.
Yeah, the world. Give it back to me. Give me back when the world was fair for me. And that's exactly what I think a lot of people are wanting wants this to happen that way.
Where I can tell the minorities what to do, and I'm the overseer. And
the way it's supposed to be historically, and
what this country doesn't realize, the slaves built this country.
I know this was built on the backs. And we talk about that a lot.
In the 20th century, every major invention was done by black people.
I know.
Okay.
I know. And that's the history that they don't want. They want to take out. They don't want to include that. They want to just bar that.
Think about this. You're a white guy, and most of the white guys you probably grew up with or saw, daddies had businesses and stuff like that. And some of them, they had the brand new car and everything, and they really didn't have to go to work because they had the business. They were going to inherit the bit. They were going to go into the business. Okay, you know what I'm saying? If they were smart, they went to college and do whatever. But they had a path. They had you play around until you're 20, 25, 30, you get settled down, and here you go.
Well, I think that there are two guys in particular that were friends of mine that I'm still, friends with. Both white guys. Both were tradesmen. The one thing I will give them is they were hard workers, and they built a nice life for themselves. So now they're in their 70s, and they're grandparents, and like I say, they're both white guys, and they
took care of the kids.
They took care of their business. So that I have to say that in my circle. Now you're right. What you're saying, there's a lot of people out there that
just an example. We saw all those teachers that we work with. How you doing?
Good to see you out here.
Oh yeah.
Have a good one.
Me too.
And look at all the teachers that went through. And remember we talked about they didn't put any effort into doing what they did. They did the minimum. Okay, you get what I'm saying? They did the minimum to get paid. Okay.
Well, I think of some of the teachers that we work with, and I would say they worked hard, and they put their time in on it, but they also did it their way, and not really understanding the diversity.
They couldn't see. They wanted to. What's the word I want to use? They didn't see diversity. Mm-hmm. All they saw was that this is the way you're supposed to go, and if you can't go to, and
they really only wanted to appeal to those that would comply with their standards. They couldn't find room for somebody that was a little bit out of the box,
and it made them feel good.
And it made them feel good, right? I think that was part of it.
Yeah.
That their ego was stroked by those kids that knew how to play that game with them and give them what they wanted. And that was a part that was difficult for me sometimes, is that there was favoritism, if you will.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They had their little special.
You stroke me. You stroke me, and I'll take care of you.
I'll take care of you. But if you go against me, I got no time for you. And like I said, the power of the pen. I'm going to write you up. I'm going to discipline you. I'm going to put you away. I'm going to hurt you.
You're not going to get no advantage.
You're not going to get. I'm going to take that away from you because you didn't want to see it my way.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's still what teachers do. Some of them do, I'm sure, but I would hope not all of them. I mean, you got to find ways to reach them all, you know.
Well, but that's if you,
or at least try.
If that's what you want to do, mm-hmm. If that's what you want to do, mm-hmm. Okay, you have to be able to say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is my core value, and this is what I want to do. And a lot of people, a lot of people have never been around minorities. And so they don't know how to deal with them, which is no different than dealing with anybody else. Set your standards and educate them that way.
Well, it's interesting because this happened the other day. So my little granddaughter said something to her grandma about it. Hey, bro, and she called her bro, right? And of course, her mom heard her and said, you don't tell adults, you don't call them bro. And, and I'd say, well, I'm not your bro, but whatever. But what Marianne pointed out was there's a couple of kids in the classroom because she volunteered in the classroom, so she knew the dynamics of the kids. Yeah. And there was a couple of kids in there who's culturally that's the way they talk. So that's fine. You don't want to. I mean, you understand. Bro is just part of the vernacular.
Well, see, when I grew up, I went to black high school, it was a whole different language.
Right.
Okay, than when I was around the white boys
playing
basketball.
Yeah, right. Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. And even today, at 81 years old, like I say, I make sure that you understand what I'm saying, but I don't talk to you the same way I talk to somebody else who's black.
Right. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, it's like a speaking another language, and basically trying to understand the translation.
Yeah, because black folks have always been able to communicate so that we can communicate with each other. And Mr. Charlie didn't know what we were talking about.
Say, is it code?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people, white people in particular, have trouble with that because you can't talk code. And you can't speak your language. You need to speak English when you're around me or whatever. And that was Because you're talking about me. You think they're talking about me. I never really felt that way. It's like,
no,
I mean, that's appreciation for your language.
They're sharing information.
And if I respect you, you would respect me enough maybe to share with me. If not, that's fine. I'm okay with that because I appreciate that.
They have to control every aspect of the environment because they're lazy. Okay? Okay? And they're talking about now, the cops are getting picked and stuff like that. They say, where the black folks at? Black folks. You had some slavery. Okay? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay. We're going to college and we're educated now.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's the part. They don't want you to be educated, because if you're educated, then you think for yourself.
Well, you said it earlier about I like dumb people. I want to dumb down America.
Because because they're not thinking. They're not good with critical thinking.
They want you to do the thinking for them, and then they want you to just fill the spoon feed them their narrative, and you don't challenge that. You don't critically say, wait, no, there's more to this.
The example, they said they rubber stamped all those guys for the cabinet, and none of those in a real situation wouldn't even be who they were.
They couldn't even hold the door, but those people were all, like you said, rubber stamped through.
Because they're loyal.
Because of the loyalty and the blind loyalty, if I would call it that.
Yeah.
And nobody dare cross. Like I said, if you're gonna kick Elon Musk out of here, well, then nobody's safe, right? As far as if you don't kiss the ring.
He spent $300 million to get you elected.
Right. And then he became a liability in Wisconsin when he couldn't get the influence on that. And now all of a sudden he's baggage. We got.
But see, he saw too much. You get what I'm saying?
It was okay as long as what he was saying was what your narrative. Yeah. But as soon as he said, "No, wait," he wasn't worth a nickel.
Well, the reason why. Do you realize that Elon Musk has 12 contracts with the government?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. What do you think he was doing? He's protecting all his contracts.
See, that's another thing. You're running it like a business.
Mm-hmm.
Government is not a business. Mm-hmm. A government is to govern, to support, to help, to guide, to give those citizens in this country the support they need.
People didn't do their homework. He's six bankrupts, and he's getting ready to bankrupt the United States. But the money's going in his pocket.
And laughing all the way to the bank. Huh?
All the way to the bank. I mean, he's over there in the Middle East doing. Only reason he's over there is so his sons can go over there and build a hotel.
Self-service.
Yes.
That's all it's about. Yeah. Well, listen, we're gonna stop there but we will continue this on because I think we're onto something. But that's we're wrapping up 52, and all's good. Mm. And so we will sign out. Thank Elijah again.
Thank you, Elijah.
We will be back in a minute.
Okay.
All right. Peace out.
Peace out.
Marion out. Search for truth. Those of you that are out there listening, subscribe to our page so that you can get the notifications of when we're going to record again.